so as promised, we are going to take a look at page 87, figure 3.3. Got my eye at the tiger there, because we all know tigers are good, especially if they come from Clemson. Alright, so here we have figure 3.3, and if we look at this figure carefully, what we are measuring on the vertical axis is the ratio of the price of food to the price of computers, and you'll notice there are two different points specified here. Okay, this is that current price ratio for N, which as you might suspect stands for Northland, and then further down here is the current price ratio for Eastland. Okay, and over on the horizontal axis, we are looking at wage rates relative to rental rates. So here's where we currently are with Eastland. So again, here's their combination, this particular point currently. And if we come over here, the current wage level relative to the current rent level is right here for Northland, which puts us at this point. So try to ignore everything else in between for right now. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. So I have that right here, and again, this map's not quite as neat, but I'm hoping by not having everything on here, it'll make a little more sense. So I think we have said that Northland is going to wind up producing computers. So that's what they're going to specialize in. So as they start ramping up computer production and also decreasing food production, all right, first of all, just as a reminder, we are presuming that computer is a relatively capital intensive good. Food is a more labor intensive good. So you might remember from microeconomics that when we start thinking about input markets, that remember those are derived demand. In other words, the demand for capital is going to do whatever happens with the demand for computers. All right. Likewise, the demand for labor is going to wind up being related to whatever it is that's going on with food production. So the bottom line is, if we're not producing as much food, we don't need as much labor. So we're going to see a decrease in the demand for labor relative to the demand for capital. We're also going to see an increase in the supply of labor relative to the supply of capital. So if you've got something happening to decrease the demand for labor, that's going to push down wage rates. Also remember, you've got something going on to push up or to increase the demand for capital, so that's going to raise rental rates. So again, this overall ratio is going to decline. We're also going to see something similar happen to this ratio of the price of food relative to the price of computers. So again, what we're saying is, if we come up here to this original point with Northland, all right, there's stuff happening that's going to start forcing down. Let's come over here, sorry. So again, both of these things are being forced down. We don't know how far down, but what I'm trying to get you to see is that their point is probably that current combination is going to start moving itself down this line. All right, now we're going to do the same thing with East Isle. It looks like East Isle, we come down here, we said they're going to really focus on food production. So again, that's going to be an increase in the production of food production, which is a labor-intensive good. There's going to be a decrease in the production of computers, which is a capital-intensive good. So if there's an increase in food production, there's going to be an increase in the demand for whatever input is used to produce food. In this case, it's labor. So we're going to get an increase in the demand for labor relative to the demand for capital. All right, so that's going to be pushing up wage rates and at the same time pushing down rental rates. So that's going to cause this whole ratio to increase. That's also going to affect this ratio. So we're going to see an increase in the price of food relative to the price of computers. So coming back up to this point now, what we're saying is that that's going to start forcing Eastland, again, both of these ratios are going to increase, so they're going to start moving. Now, in terms of trade, I don't know exactly where these two things are going to meet. All I know is that Eastland's point is going to be further this way before it's all said and done, and Northland's point is going to wind up being further that way. And that's what it is you need to see once you have worked through this. All right. Bye-bye.